How dare you not watch my review! That's right everyone, Dragon Ball Super Episode 7 is here and here come all the memes! How dare you hit my Bulma, Vegeta's furious mutation! Yes, Vegeta is now officially a X-Men. When we last left off, Vegeta was reacquainted with a blast from the past, which contributed to the past being blasted away by Frieza, which I'm pretty sure was quite a raging blast for the tyrant. Jeez, how many times can I say the word blast? Beerus had returned to wreck Vegeta's world, as well as the buffet carts along Bulma's birthday ship, because remember, that party is still a thing. Sure enough, the events of the movie Battle of Gods are taking place pretty much the same way in the same tempo. Sans the breakdancing animation of Beerus, which I'm kind of sad is not there, and I'm really sad because the bingo song is not here at all. I guess we traded the bingo song for Vegeta cooking in an apron and stuff like that. I mean, which is better? How about voting in the poll? I mean, I thought inconsistent animation was bad enough, but not having the bingo song? I mean, personally, come on, dude! Goku was getting seen to on King Kai's planet as the battle between Vegeta and Beerus was about to start, in typical Dragon Ball fashion. But not in typical Dragon Ball fashion is the fact that Vegeta isn't starting a battle. Whatever actually happens, I hope it's a bit more compelling than when Vegeta just tripped over earlier on. Beerus has actually now dispatched Boo, and a mushroom cloud of water is erupting from the surface, leaving everyone completely puzzled, either surprised or concerned, or, in the case of Piccolo over here, just looking meh. You would also think that the actual cruise ship would stop to look, going like, what the heck is that thing? But no, they're not being paid to stop. Everybody is captivated with the sight, except Dr. Briefs and Panty. They don't look like they care one bit. Dr. Briefs is just... and Panty is just the same old happy self as per usual. I mean, does she actually change expression at all? In fact, now that I see it a little more, Piccolo's looking like he's just rolled his eyes going, oh, here we go again, womp womp. But before Vegeta's actually moved a muscle, he is sweating like a storm, and quite honestly, this seems a lot more compelling than just him rushing into a battle immediately and then getting blasted away. It just seems all the more intimidating that Vegeta doesn't have to do anything and he's already this terrified. Okay, this is good. The stare down between him and Beerus is all the more like Dragon Ball Z, and this is only broken by the fact that our Lord and Savior is suffering from a major concussion, and yeah, okay, fair enough. This is Mr. Satan after all. But still, all the Z vibes are starting to come to the surface. Quite honestly, this is far more compelling than just filling the dead air with dialogue. Vegeta only snaps out of his terror when Bulma basically tells him to grow a pair, which I think any man would do if Bulma was saying that to them because, you know, she's Bulma fierce after all. Thanks to the powers of science and smarts and basic sass, Bulma reigns supreme. Vegeta has not quite snapped out of all of this, so instead of fighting or even just talking about pride or even just harumphing like the prince would usually do, he's actually up in the air trying to reason and bargain with the god of destruction. This is not the Vegeta that we're used to, and he's basically trying to do a really bad impression of a peacekeeping dude because that face looks disingenuous as hell. It's like the uncanny valley in the way, it's just weird. But Beerus wants none of this though. Not even the prospect of freshly made pudding made by Vegeta himself can sway him from his present situation. All of this sending Vegeta into a tailspin. Ah! The cat doesn't want any of my cooking! But I thought on Earth, cats love food! Piccolo though has had enough. He demands to find an explanation and just assumes that since Dende's a bit of a brainbox nerd of a Namekian, that he would know everything. At this point, Dende does not. He is intimidated and he can sense the key whereas the others cannot. Dende, despite the appearance, is a godly being, the guardian of Earth, so he can sense the key somehow when he took the job. I'm not sure how it works, but hey, I'm not a god. Boo then returns from the depths of the water, looking absolutely furious with Beerus right now. But I don't get why. This is a bit of a problem I had originally, and I still do, that Boo's not really acting like his typical self. You'd think at this point that he'd be excited to play with the god of destruction. He's had the food already, so he's not worrying about sharing. He's just being mad right now. Inconsistent. But I suppose it doesn't really matter in a way, because Beerus is just going to knock him around like a toy regardless. And yep, sure enough, the same thing happens. And he breaks his own leg to do it, because that does not look like that was comfortable. Earth is only saved when Whis just wants to stay a little bit longer to try out the Earth delicacy that is sushi. And I can understand that, because sushi is pretty awesome. But Beerus is being impatient as per usual and threatens to destroy Whis at the same time. And I can imagine that Whis got the biggest belly laugh ever. It's like, you want to destroy me, Lord Beerus? Why? Oh, that's simply adorable. Sorry, I completely forgot Goten and Trunks are a thing. And so is Gotenks, because if you watch Z and then went straight into Super, you remember that Gotenks is around. So, sure enough, Goten and Trunks make Gotenks, but the thing that is weird, that they don't go all out immediately. It's just regular old Gotenks, not Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks like they usually do. Beerus doesn't care about this flashy display of power, he just wants to know what pudding tastes like, the texture of it, the smell of it, and all other types of descriptive words, using really weird and wacky line art for Beerus in wacky, unusual ways in cartoony fashions that I must admit is pretty funny upon first glance, but it does tend to drag out a little more than it should have. It outstays the welcome, and so therefore, it kind of ruins the impact in my opinion. But hey, it's better than nothing I suppose. When Beerus has had enough and decides to teach the boy a lesson, instead of spanking, like in the traditional sense in the movie that we're expected to, he actually does it a different way. 2 fingers, like that. And yeah, I tried this myself earlier, and it does hurt a lot more than I thought it would. So yeah, don't try it out for yourself, guys. Yeah, it canes. But as soon as Beerus utters the words destroying the Earth, the Z Fighters leap into action, because as if they're waiting for like, no wait, does he want to destroy the planet? No, he does? Okay, we're bringing it on! Oh, the Z Fighters, quite possibly the best reactionary force on the planet. Their actions are proving just as futile as Boo's were, and they're just basically trying to punch Beerus, and like Goku, they can't get a hit on him. Then he just uses the force of his own energy to knock them all back, and they're actually really hurt. I mean, quite badly injured. In fact, by the time they land on the ground, Dende has to go and heal them immediately. Well, I say them, it's more like just Piccolo and only Piccolo. Favoritism much. But hey, at least Ten Shinhan's on an even playing field this time. Trying to scale power in terms of just being beaten by the force of energy alone rather than a punch or a kick? Yeah, that's quite effective. I mean, that worked for Gogeta and Omega Shenron in GT, and that was a pretty impressive bit, so yeah, more of that please. Have we just discovered a new means of power scaling people? Basically, we can just ask a character, how many Beerus punches can you withstand? I mean, Vegeta's like 1.2, Goku's 2, Super Saiyan 4, you get the idea. But that doesn't really matter for now, because we gotta have a little bit of comedy. This is Dragon Ball after all, and we get it in the form of Whis basically falling in love with sushi. And yeah, I can't stay mad at this guy. Yeah, the scene's a minute long, in fact over a minute, and it does drag a little bit towards the end, but come on, the reactions that Whis has to sushi is just so endearing. I love the guy. He's so cool. Why, guys, why is Whis so great? But eventually, Whis is called back to Beerus' side, and for some strange reason, Beerus' torso looks really small in comparison to his legs. Don't know why that is, but alright. But Beerus still wants to go home. Whis isn't done yet because they're waiting for their takeaway order to be made. So yeah, it's come down to this, people. The fate of the Earth is squarely decided upon the timing and speediness of a takeout order. Yeah, it sounds about right for Dragon Ball. Gohan and Videl are trying to assess the situation on their own, but they know it's serious when Gohan has to take the glasses off. Ooh, ominous. Still not sure what to do, Vegeta returns to the ground motionless and completely and utterly afraid. And yeah, he's getting more and more reprise, with the takeout order still taking a bit of time. Not to mention they're still dealing with Boo getting angrier and angrier, still trying to fight Beerus, and 18 still not fully healed, Dende's still not gotten to that yet. Come on guy, focus! And then comes a really pathetic scene in my opinion. Chi-Chi scolds Krillin for not taking part in the proceedings and fighting, and letting 18 do it, and he's just going, "Oh man, I don't fight anymore! I gotta think about Marin! This is so not Mondo cool, guys! 18's gotta think of Marin too, mate! You know it gets really bad when Yamcha offers to help you! Yamcha! Dude! Come on! You've changed, man. But Piccolo indirectly bails out Krillin, saying that no matter what anyone does, anyone trying to fight at this point is utterly pointless, as we then cut to Beerus doing his best All Might impression with that massive smirk. But then suddenly Gohan randomly tries to fight Beerus, powering up, looking really cool, the glasses are off again, but he doesn't even get close to him because he's then hurled back by an imposing Boo body. So yeah, he doesn't even get a chance to attack, like Piccolo Tenshinhan 18, no, he's down immediately. I sense a bad precedence here. However, more reprieves are to be had because Whis is back at the dinner table, still waiting for the takeout order and wanting more sushi. Yeah, okay. Food conquers all, apparently. And Vegeta's still not done anything. It's just like the time when Vegeta was being really scared when Broly showed up, the legendary Super Saiyan, and he was all scared about not being the legendary Super Saiyan. His life was completely destroyed, and the same thing is happening now. But it seems like Beerus is particularly enjoying this one. Really embracing the moment, letting it elongate the time, sticking it in Vegeta, as if to like really convey his hatred of Saiyans and his contempt for the King Vegeta, and wanted to take it out on his son. Ooh, okay, I can sense this. Yeah, they're getting much more of a handle on Beerus, okay. It then extends onto the deck of the ship when Vegeta's head is crushed just in the same way that his father was with Beerus 30 or 40 years ago. Yeah, that's good juxtaposition there. Super, you do have your moments when it comes to cinematography, and this is one of them. But just then, Bulma comes in, thinking that Beerus is just completely being rude and a really horrible guest. She slaps him, really without any fear or lack of conviction, and just chews him out more and more and more before then getting a slap herself by the tyrant. And it's elongated to hell, but it is definitely worth it because you just think Vegeta going, "No, don't you do it, don't you do it!" It then leads on to the ultimate, "How dare you touch my Bulma!" That moment, yeah, okay, that goes down in Dragon Ball history. It may not be as effective as it was in the movie and so sudden, but it does have its place within the Dragon Ball fandom. The prince is now back, baby, with a newfound determination, just as soon as the episode ends. Couldn't have happened sooner, eh? Could it? All in all, this episode didn't really have as much content as some of the previous episodes, but the stuff that it did have was very noteworthy and very impressively presented. And okay, yeah, the inconsistent animation popped up again and again, but it was less as it was before. And there were of course some very confusing moments as Gotenks not going Super Saiyan 3 like he would have, and Boo getting more angry than excited to play. It's like the characters weren't on model for this one. The writer may not have been as clued in as they should have been. As for conveying Beerus' personality, it feels like the production staff have really got a good handle on it now. It seems a lot more complete and wholesome rather than it was in the first few episodes when Beerus just felt like a flat-out jerk and completely irredeemable or likable or endearing or engaging at all. Just really annoying. Now though, it feels like he's got certain layers and levels, and it started in the previous episode and it continues on now that he's interacting with characters that aren't gone in the blink of an eye. There's actual time to build relationships and stuff. He still feels a little bit more unreasonable than he was in the movie, but it's progress. It just feels like Beerus could exist in the real world, or at least in terms of his persona. And then of course, who could forget the delight of Whis? That food thing, the whole joke shtick, I know it could get pretty repetitive eventually, but for now, it's still well made and it's still worthwhile having. And judging from the preview, it looks like Goku's about to show up again, so anyone that was getting Goku withdrawal, their prayers are about to be answered as we might be approaching the end game, and the Super Saiyan God may not be as far-fetched as we first thought. But anyway, that was my review for Dragon Ball Super Episode 7. Tune in next time for my review of Episode 8. But until then guys, be sure to like and subscribe. Catch you later!